That's generally what the movie is all about. The documentary and educational video is about Todd, who preaches God's presence and His love. Todd White goes to places where people have not reached out to God for quite some time, and his mission is to make the distant ones closer to God again. Todd White reaches out to people's hearts and lets the others see his perspectives and love for Jesus. Todd White's mission is to do what the disciples did and share the good news about Jesus. What scene did you like most? Why? My most favorite scene was at the start where he goes to France. Todd went to a place where many people gathered and watched girls who were half naked and some were even naked. When Todd went to that place, people gathered there and wholeheartedly listened to his words, sharing Jesus' words. That scene was my favorite because in that scene, Todd showed courage. And in my belief, that was possible because he had faith and knew that the Lord gave him courage to do what he had to do. Todd even prayed for the ones who were sick and had disabilities, and despite the differences, Todd never judged the others. Cite two new insights or learnings you got from that movie that you haven't or not commonly heard before. One insight which everyone knows, but Todd put into words where it wasn't commonly heard and understood at his point of view. This insight was when Todd said at the start of the documentary, even after being born again, you continue to commit sin. This phrase hit me hard because if you try and understand what he said, it meant that even at the start of our lives, we should always find ways to get closer to Jesus because mankind is not perfect and we consistently sin even if we do not mean them. We sometimes sin because we get to the point where we are at the top of our emotions. When we get mad, we say words we don't mean. And when we are too happy, we make promises we can't keep. Another insight is always love thy neighbors. In real life, it is hard for others to love one another because instead of prioritizing peace and love with one another, we prioritize pride instead, and that's what keeps others apart from one another. It is not common to love thy neighbors because in the end, we all focus on ourselves, and trying to lower our pride is really a hard thing to do. How affected are you from the movie? In what way are you challenged? The movie affected me in a way where because of the things Todd said and his actions, I wanted to get closer to God. I used to go to church a lot back when I was a kid, even if that meant I had to go alone. But as time passed, I slowly grew distant to God and Jesus, keeping myself busy with other priorities and not making time for Him. There was also a time where I grew distant because my doubt about my religion and my belief grew stronger. Because of Todd's words and his interaction with other people, this challenged me to try my best and become closer to God. And I know one important thing to do is to always do good deeds and think of others as we do these good deeds. I want to become a good person like Todd and love my neighbors and even my enemy. And I know it is a hard thing to do and it seems impossible, but with the guide of Jesus, I know we can do it. How do you respond from the movie? What actions will you take? I did some research about Todd White because I became more curious about him the more I watched his documentary. Todd used to be an atheist and was a drug addict in the past. But even after he seemed hopeless and wouldn't change, miracles did happen, and in the present, he is now a very influential person in relation to religion and faith in Jesus. It took 22 years for Todd to stop from being an atheist and a drug addict. Like Todd, I want to change myself for my attitude, which seems almost hopeless. And I know there will come a time where I can really change if I am very sincere. my reflection about the documentary I watched. I hope you enjoyed.